What's going on? This is Cody, and I'm interrupting this song because we've got some very fun stuff going on here at the Seacrest studio at Children's Hospital, Colorado. It is another special edition of the latest news to keep you in the groove with Maya. Maya, who do we have online today?
Anthony Rapp.
Anthony Rapp! Woo! How are you? Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so glad to have you. Maya, take it away, girl.
Okay, so first of all, I'm so excited to be talking to you right now. I've been counting down the days.
Thank you very much.
So my first question for you is, so what's your favorite thing about acting?
Boy, it's hard to sometimes, pick one favorite thing because there are many, many things I do love about it. But among the favorite things is the fact that I get to travel all over the world. I've gotten to travel all over the world to work, and therefore I get to meet people from all over the world. I get to experience different cultures. If I'm doing a film in another country, I get to be there for months at a time. So it's not just like a vacation. I get to actually live there. That's one of the things I love about it. But even more so, I think I love the opportunity that acting allows me to, in my small way, I get to be a part of shows that try to make the world a better place. So I get to be lucky that I get to, have fun and do all that stuff, but it's also in the service of something that's hopefully making a difference.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you played Mark Cohen in Rent in both the Broadway and off-Broadway productions, and then also the movie. And so I never saw the play, but I'm obsessed with the soundtrack and I love the movie.
Thank you.
So could you relate to Mark in any way?
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I've been living in New York City since 1989, and I'd been here a couple times before that as a kid, and I've always felt very at home here. And I was living in the East Village, about 2 blocks away from where Mark and Roger's loft is in the show. So I was living in that apartment at the time that I got Rent. So I was living in the neighborhood. I was, a struggling actor. Mark's a struggling filmmaker. And I also knew people who had HIV or AIDS. So like Mark, that was something that was personal to me, that I was a part of a community that was struggling with the AIDS epidemic. And I had friends, of all different kinds. And so, yes, I absolutely related to Mark, and I related to Rent. And also, while I was doing the show, my mom, she'd been battling cancer. So as I was doing the show where I was playing Mark, who is struggling with how to be, he's healthy, he's having to, mourn the loss of friends or be around friends who are struggling with illness, and how does, that struggle, that was very real for me too, as I was learning how to be with my mom, who was in what turned out to be the last year of her life. So though that journey, Mark's journey and my journey, were very close in that respect also.
Well, I'm so sorry about that.
No, thank you.
So do you have a favorite song from Rent?
Yeah, my favorite song to sing is What You Own, the song I sing with Roger toward the end of the show. I'm a big rock and roll fan. I love rock concerts, and doing that song kind of felt like I got to do a rock concert every night. And I loved singing with Adam Pascal, the original Roger. And I just think what that song is about is very meaningful. Even though, the lyric is at the end of the millennium and now we're past the end of the millennium, it still is very relevant as we're looking at things that are happening right now in our country. The people who have and the people who don't have. If it's money or healthcare or access or even clean water, there's this divide, and that song is really about that. Like when you're living in this country where so much is unequal, how do you get by? How do you learn how to make the right moves and make the right choices? So I think it's very relevant. But in terms of when I see the show, one of the songs I love the most is the "I'll Cover You" reprise. I just think it's really beautiful, and it's very moving.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So you played Zachary, aka Z, in Psych the musical. And Psych is one of my favorite shows, and I love the musical episode.
Thank you.
Do you have any fun stories or memories from filming?
Well, it was really, really fun. They offered me the role, which meant I didn't have to audition, which is always very nice when that happens. It's like somebody calls you up and says, "Hey, you won the lottery," a small lottery. It's not like a lot of money, but you like out of nowhere, you get this call like, "Oh, you won a contest." That's what it feels like. So I won that contest. I got to go to Vancouver, which is a very beautiful city, and film. And the creator of the show was so friendly, and the actors it was just a really fun and welcoming atmosphere. And I'm a big baseball fan. And it was during the playoffs is when we were shooting the episode, and there were other baseball fans on the set. So between takes, we would all be like looking at our computers or at the phone, watching the scores of the games and rooting for different teams. And there was one of those cases where I looked at the score and I was like, "Oh, that game's over." Did the scene, came back, and the other team had made this huge comeback and won, and then went on to go into the World Series. So it was like if we had all placed bets, we would have all lost our bets because it was one of those things.
Oh, cool. So you've released a couple albums, Look Around and Without You, musical. I always have trouble saying this word. Memoir.
Yeah, that's all right. Yes, that's how you pronounce it. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I always have to think about it first.
Sure.
So do you plan on releasing more original music?
Probably at some point. There are a couple more songs that I've written or co-written with friends that I haven't recorded yet. I don't know if it's not enough for an album yet, but it's certainly something that would be in the little dreamland for now. Right now, it's very hard to do that kind of work because we're all so separated. We have to be safe and stay in our homes. So, one of the great things about making a record is you all come together, the musicians, everybody, you're in the studio together, and that's not really safe to do right now. So it will be some time before we can do that again.
Mm. Yeah. So what is your songwriting process like?
They're all different. Sometimes I've written a couple songs totally by myself. I play a little bit of piano and I play a little bit of guitar, enough to be able to do that. But I really do like writing songs with other people because I can have ideas and then I like bouncing off the ideas off someone else. And then if it's a good collaboration, then what comes out is even more interesting, I think. Sometimes to me, songs are a lot about a very specific moment, like a very small little specific moment in time. That's how I think about songs, as opposed to like a novel, which is about a long time, or a story, which is about a longer thing. A song is about one little scene or one little moment or one little idea or one little feeling kind of thing. So I wrote a couple songs with other people, but about my mom when she, and what it was like to be with her during the time of her illness. One of the songs is called Visits to You, a song I'm very proud of, about going home to visit her while she was in her last month. And I was very lucky that I had a friend who helped me find a way to put those ideas into a song that could communicate what I wanted to communicate.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so you've guest starred and have had recurring roles in so many shows, and a lot of the roles have been groundbreaking. Have you had a favorite project or character you've played?
You mean in the television roles that I've played?
Yeah.
In television, I mean, the favorite project I've worked on in television by far now is Star Trek Discovery. I'm very fortunate to be a regular on Star Trek Discovery. We've done 3 seasons so far. The 3rd season will be coming out in October on CBS All Access. And I'm a big nerd. I love sci-fi and fantasy stuff when it's good. I love superhero stuff when it's good. And Star Trek is one of the best universes ever created, in my opinion. And it's just filled with great stories about hope and the challenges that we face as a society. And I'm really honored to be a part of the legacy. The Star Trek's been around for over 50 years, and we're one of the more recent versions of it. And it's a series filled with great people, great actors, really wonderful directors. So I'm having a total blast with it.
Oh, cool. So what inspired you to write your memoir?
Well, it was my memoir, Without You, which is the full title is Without You, a memoir of love, loss, and the musical Rent. I wanted to try to capture what it was like to be a part of this incredible moment in my life of being a part of something that was so groundbreaking and life-changing, which was being a part of the original Broadway cast of Rent. At the same time, our wonderful, the writer of the show, Jonathan Larson, passed away after the dress rehearsal. He was a young man. He wasn't ill as far as anyone knew. So it was a period of these incredible highs and these incredible lows. And then also during that time, as I mentioned, my mom was in the last years of her life after struggling with cancer. So it was this very intense time of life-changing events. And I learned a great deal about how to get through all of that. And I wanted to try to capture that experience and honor that experience. And I also wanted to honor my mom and her memory and her legacy. And to be very honest and open about the struggles involved with loss and illness, and also be very honest about the joys of being a part of something that really was changing my life and changing the lives of many other people, which was Rent.
Cool. Yeah. Is there a line from a book or a movie that's always stuck with you or inspires you?
Yeah, there's one. It's my brother is a writer, and he wrote a beautiful play about grief. And there's a line in that play that I actually quote in my book, and the line is, "Grief does not expire like a candle or the beacon on a lighthouse. It simply changes temperature." And I think that that's very, very true. And it brings me a lot of comfort. And, you know, there's this idea, I think, in our culture, a lot of times that you're supposed to like get over it. You know, when bad things happen, just get over it. You'll be fine. And yes, it's true that you will grow and heal. At the same time, it will always stay with you. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with the pain associated with grief, because the pain associated with grief is also very connected to love. You only grieve things that you love. So it's also a measure of meaning and love in your life. So that's one of the quotes that I really hold close to my heart.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I actually just about Rent, I actually, during quarantine, I've gotten like obsessed with some Broadway soundtracks. And so I had like my rotation of like all the soundtracks, and then my mom played me the soundtrack to Rent, and now that's part of my rotation.
So that was your first time ever hearing it, was during this quarantine period?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, cool. Well, welcome. Welcome to the Rent world.
Thank you. Yeah, my sister actually gets annoyed with me because I have a whole playlist that's just like Rent and some other Broadway shows, and it's on all the time. So she gets a little annoyed when.
Well, one of the jobs of sisters is to annoy each other, right? Isn't that one of the things? Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I always tell her, I'm like, it's my job to annoy you. So, what song is on repeat on your playlist?
Are you aware of Robin, the Swedish pop star Robin, Robyn? Some of her music I really, really love. Her most recent album called Honey, there's a song, the title track from that. It's a song I like to listen to over and over and over again. Dancing on My Own is a great song of hers. That's one that I listen to a lot. There's a band called Arcade Fire from Canada that I really love, and so much of their music I put on repeat. Listen to a lot of Aretha Franklin and Ella Fitzgerald and Al Green, old Motown classics. That's a lot of what's been on repeat lately. Stuff that Tina Turner, stuff that feels very, in this time of being so closed off from so many things, it's music that has energy and heart and soul, and you can dance even if you're dancing in your living room, you're still dancing.
Yeah, yeah. When my sister and I ended up finishing the school year online because of quarantine and lockdown, and we just constantly, we would just have dance parties. Like we just put on music and just like leave our schoolwork for a minute and just like dance around our living room.
It's very important.
Yeah. So if you could have any song playing to announce your entrance into a room, what song would it be?
Wow, that's such a good question. I don't know. There's this. I don't know why, but there's a song called "Africa" by Toto that has such a great groove that I think that would be really fun to have that groove playing as I walked into the room. That's one that comes to mind.
Oh, cool. So have you discovered any new obsessions during quarantine?
Yeah, I have actually. I was given a board game last year and I had never opened it yet until quarantine. And I've grown to really love it. It's called Terraforming Mars. So if there's any board game enthusiasts out there who like long, involved, and complex and strategic and fun, challenging board games that don't ever play the same way time after time, I highly recommend it.
Oh, cool. Yeah. I've been telling my mom and my sister, I'm like, actually, quarantine is hard, but I'm like, actually, I like it for the only reason that I've gotten obsessed with all these Broadway soundtracks.
That's good, yes.
Yeah.
I've also been reading a lot, but I've always been a pretty avid reader, but in quarantine, I've been reading even more. And I've been reading some really great books, so.
Cool. Yeah, I've been I got a couple years ago on Amazon, I found this Psych book, that Psych's Guide to Crime Fighting for the totally unqualified. And so I've been rereading that during quarantine.
That's fun.
So what do you do to lift yourself up when you're having a bad day?
I spend time with my cats. That really helps. Cats can be incredibly comforting. I try to expose myself to arts that are inspiring, if it's music or a TV show or a film. Even being in the presence of art, I find can be very comforting. Even if I'm having a sad day, even watching something sad, if it's well done, can be cathartic. So those are some of the things that I do. Connecting with friends, connecting with my fiance, those are things that help lift me up for sure. Yeah.
Oh, cool. So my last question for you is, who do you consider to be a real life superhero and why?
Wow. There's a gentleman by the name of Andy Slavitt who has been one of the main voices of information and reason during COVID-19 here in the United States. And the work that he's doing on social media, on news programs, with his podcast, to just try to make sure that everybody has the most accurate and helpful information, and going behind the scenes to work with governments and doing everything he can to try to make things better for everyone. He right now is one of the major superheroes.
Cool. Yeah. My mom keeps up with all that stuff. I'm every day I'm constantly spinning out about all of it,
I understand.
with anxiety. So I just leave it to my mom. I'm just leaving this all to you. And she tells me something if I'm just kind of losing it and just freaking out. So
yes, that makes sense.
Yeah. So, well, thank you so much for calling in. I had so much fun talking to you.
My pleasure. It's great meeting you. Thank you for asking to talk to me. Thank you for listening to Rent and for enjoying my work in Psych. I really appreciate it. And I hope you and your family and all the people out there watching in the hospital are staying safe and well and taking good care of yourselves and each other.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending so much time with us. Take care, and we'll talk to you later. Here, of course, is a little Africa Toto right here for our new friend, Anthony Rapp.